Good morning, my lovely nurses. I hope you are fine and your family is good. Today, our topic is intussusception. Intussusception, just imagine a child who's suddenly screaming in pain. You are working in pediatric department or pediatric emergency. So, a child is suddenly screaming in pain, drawing their knees up to their chest and later passing stool that looks like red currant jelly. So, this dramatic picture points us to a serious pediatric emergency. This intussusception is a serious pediatric emergency that called intussusception. So, a condition where one part of intestine, I just draw a picture, where is one part of intestine slides into another. You can see the one part of intestine slides into another like a telescope folding in. So today we will explore what intussusception is, why it happens, and how to recognize its signs quickly and the critical role as a nurses in saving the child's life, because this is a really critical emergency and we have to assess the sign and symptoms as soon as possible and implement on the patient care. So our first of all we will define this one. What is intussusception? So intussusception, what happened actually in intussusception, the one part of the intestine slides into another like a telescoping. So as I told you, is a pediatric emergency, and that's exactly what intussusception is. So what happen if we will not treat as soon as possible? That can cause blockage and cuts of blood supply. Blockage and cuts of blood supply. So intussusception, telescoping of one part of the bowel into another, like see one bowel going into another like a socks. For example, you have one socks and you put another socks in the one socks, that is telescoping. So like the same like intestine, the one part of the intestine slides into another, that is intussusception. So most common, this is most common in the infants like 6 months to 3 years. 6 months to 3 years is the most common, and if not treated the bowel tissue can die, mean necrosis. If we will not treat it timely, the bowel tissue can die, that is necrosis. Why necrosis? Because there is a compression of the blood vessels. When one part of the intestine slide into another, there is a compression of blood vessels. Compression of blood vessels. So once there is a compression of blood vessels, what will happen? The blood supply will reduce. Blood supply will reduce. So once the blood supply will reduce, ischemia will be there. Ischemia means no oxygen, no blood supply there. So once ischemia will be there, that is necrosis. Necrosis will happen if untreated. So this is the intussusception. The one part of intestine slide into another, blockage, cut of blood supply, compress the blood supply, and due to blood supply reduce, there will be ischemia and the necrosis if untreated. Now we will talk about the causes of intussusception. So the causes in infants, the cause is often unknown, that is idiopathic in infants. Possible triggers that can happen in infants. The possible triggers is viral infection, and the lead point lesions. Lead point lesions, we are telling Meckel's diverticulum. Meckel's diverticulum. What is Meckel's diverticulum? Maybe patient has polyps or tumor. More common in older children and adults. So the viral infection or any Meckel's diverticulum, any polyp is there, any node is there, like a lymph node is there, any tumor is there, that is the cause of intussusception. And the post-vaccination. Post-vaccination is actually rare, but I am just want to inform you about this one. The post-vaccination, as the rotavirus vaccine has been associated. So vaccination of rotavirus, that can also be the cause of intussusception, but that is very rare. We will talk about the pathophysiology. Pathophysiology, I will tell you step by step how it happened, the intussusception. So, intussusception, as I told you, the small intestine slides into the large intestine. For example, the parts of intestine slip inside another. So, we will just take an example. The small intestine slides into the large intestine. So, what will happen? This is the number one. The pathophysiology, what will happen first? The one part of the intestine slides into another. One part slides to another. This is the one step. Second step, what happened? The bowel lumens will narrow. Lumens narrow. So once the bowel lumens will be narrow, what will happen? Intestinal obstructions. The number 3 step, the venous and lymphatic drainage block, because there is a blockage now. Everything is narrow. The bowel lumen is narrow, and the venous and lymphatic drainage block. So venous and lymphatic drainage block. Due to this reason, there will be swelling and edema. Number 4 step, the blood supply cut off. Blood supply cut off. So once the blood supply will cut off, what will happen? Ischemia and possible necrosis. Ischemia and possible necrosis. Number 5 step is mucosa sheds. What is mucosa sheds? Mean the blood and mucus will mix together. Because once mucosa sheds is there, the blood and mucus will mix together, and due to this reason, when you see the patient's stool, that is red currant jelly stool. This is NCLEX point. If they will give you the case scenario, in the case scenario, they will mention this one. The child has stool is like a red currant jelly stool. So this is the NCLEX point. Keep in your mind. So remember one thing for the pathophysiology: obstruction, ischemia is emergency. That is the pathophysiology. Obstruction, ischemia, and is emergency. So this is pathophysiology step by step. Number 1, as I told you, intestine will slide to another. Number 2, bowel lumen will narrow. Due to this reason, patient has intestinal obstruction. Number 3, venous and the lymphatic drainage blockage, and due to this reason, patient has swelling and edema. The number 4, blood supply is cut off, and due to blood supply cut off, patient have ischemia and the necrosis, possible necrosis. Patient has mucus sheds. Due to this reason, blood and mucus will mix, and the stool will be red currant jelly stool. What is the clinical features? Clinical features mean the sign and symptom. How you know patient has intussusception. So not all children show all symptoms. Mean there will be maybe 1 or 2 symptoms. So there is a classic triad. Classic triad mean there is a 3 main sign symptoms, but it's not like this patient has all three sign symptoms. So classic triad, but you have to know all three, the main clinical features. That is very important, because you don't know which clinical features they will mention in the case scenario. So the number one of classic triad is the sudden intermittent abdominal pain. Patient will complain sudden abdominal pain, and that will be intermittent. It's not like this continuous. So once the child has sudden abdominal pain, what will happen? Baby cries loudly. Babies cried loudly and draws knees to chest. One child will cry, he will take his knees to the chest. In the case scenario, they can mention this one. Once the child is crying, he is taking his knees to the chest. Then becomes calm and repeat, because it's intermittent, is not like this continuous. So he will become calm, and then he will again repeat the same situation. Number two of classic triad is vomiting. Vomiting means the initially food, later bile stain. So once patient will vomit, initially there will be a bile, initial will be there is a food that he may eat before, and then later bile will come, bile stain vomiting will be there. The number three classic triad is red currant jelly stool. Red currant jelly stool, that means the stool mixed with blood plus mucus. So this is the classic symptoms that as a nurse you should have to know the classic symptoms. The other symptoms, that is also important, other symptoms, because I receive a question in my exam. So in my case scenario, they mention the sausage. Sausage mean the once the doctor will check the abdominal, so he will feel there is a mass like a sausage shape lump. So in the question they will mention this one, the sausage shape lump in the right abdomen. So once the doctor will check the abdomen, in the right side he will feel sausage shape like lump in the right abdomen, and distended abdomen if prolonged obstruction. If we did not treat timely, so there will be a distension, distended abdomen. Lethargy or shock in severe late cases. Lethargy and shock symptom, but in the late cases, if we will not timely handle this one. So the clinical pearl actually is this one. If a child who was crying suddenly becomes a very quiet and drowsy, this may indicate shock or severe intussusception progression. So this is very important. You have to know these sign symptoms also can happen in the intussusception patients. So classic triad and the other sign symptom, this mass sausage shaped lump is also an NCLEX point, and the red currant jelly stool, sudden abdominal pain, vomiting. Keep in your mind, because the intussusception and the Hirschsprung disease, you can confuse with these two diseases. So in the next topic, inshallah, I will talk about the Hirschsprung disease. So this time intussusception, then I will also explain you soon about the difference between intussusception and the Hirschsprung disease, because we can confuse with these two topics. Now, how we will diagnose the intussusception? How we will diagnose, the history and physical exam are very important. History and physical, that is the first. So history and physical exam, and then we will do ultrasound. The ultrasound is most common test, because it will show the target sign or the donut sign, mean where is the intussusception happened. So the ultrasonography is very important. That is the most common test. And then we will do the barium or air enema. Barrier and air enema. confirm diagnosis and can also treat. We are also using this one for treatment and also for the diagnosis. And we will do the x-ray that may show obstruction but is less specific. So specific is the ultrasound, and the barium and air enema we are doing in the intussusception case. How we will treat this one? The treatment is non-surgical first. That is the first line. The first line is non-surgical. What we will do, the air enema or the barium enema, that is preferred. Air enema or the bare enema is the first line treatment, both diagnostic and therapeutic. Mean we will also diagnose and we will also treat the intussusception. It will work in 80 to 90% cases. Because with barium enema and the air enema, that intestine, the one part slides into another. Once we are giving barium enema or air enema, so it can resolve by itself, no need any surgical treatment. But if barium enema and air enema is unsuccessful, so then we need surgery. The perforation or peritonitis is present. So child is unstable, manually reduce telescope bowel or remove necrotic part. So we are doing laparotomy and we are resolving this issue through the surgery. Our nursing care is very, very important. Nursing care is very important because the safety of the patient is most important. So whenever we are giving any exam, they are checking how much safe we are for the patients. So the nursing care before treatment, I will divide it into two parts. Before treatment, patient came in the emergency, you already diagnosed intussusception. So before treatment, what would you have to do? Keep NPO. Nothing by mouth. Insert NG tube for decompression. NG tube for decompression. Start IV fluids to prevent dehydration. IV fluids to prevent dehydration. Monitor vitals. Look for the shock, tachycardia, low blood pressure, pale skin. So all shock signs. So we have to monitor the vital signs. The pain management and the emotional support to child and parents, because as a parent, if we think how much stress that time the parents have, so the emotional support and the pain management is very important. Pain management and emotional support. Prepare family, explain that enema may both diagnosis and cure. Explain about the enema to the parents. Now after treatment, before and now after. After treatment, like enema or surgery, first we have to give first line treatment. So monitor stools. Stools mean return of normal brown stool is a good sign. So the monitor stool is very important. Assess for recurrence, can happen in 10% of cases. So we have to assess for recurrence. If surgery, if there is a surgery, we done surgery, then the monitor incision, wound, fluids, serum electrolytes. Gradually reintroduce oral fluids, not like this suddenly give by orally. So gradually reintroduce oral feeds, gradually. So this is the treatment, the nursing management before and the after. What complications can happen? The complication is bowel perforation, then peritonitis, infection in abdominal cavity, that is peritonitis, sepsis, hypovolemic shock, even death if we are not treating timely. So always treat quickly. This is a emergency, pediatric emergency, so we have to treat quickly. The NCLEX key points in this lecture is all exams points in this lecture is the current jelly stools intussusception, that is hallmark of the intussusception. They will give you scenario, this symptom is must there. The current jelly stools, so priority, prepare for barium and air enema, do not give oral fluids, keep NPO, sudden relief of pain with normal stool may mean spontaneous resolution after the barium enema or the air enema. Now I make special flashcards. Flashcards on intussusception. So you will understand the topic more nicely. So our flashcard number 1 is what is intussusception. So it is when one part of the intestine slides into another part like a telescope folding. This blocks food, blood flow, and it causes pain. That is intussusception. This is the simple definition of the intussusception. That is flashcard number 1. Now our flashcard number 2. The flashcard number 2 is what are the classic symptoms of intussusception. Classic symptoms of intussusception. So classic symptoms is sudden severe abdominal pain, then child draw knees to chest, vomiting, red current jelly stools mean the blood plus mucus. That is the classic symptoms of intussusception. Our flashcard number 3. The flashcard number 3 is which age group is most commonly affected. The age group. Which age group is commonly affected by intussusception? That is 6 months to 3 years. That is the answer, the age group. Our flashcard number 4 is why is intussusception dangerous? So why is dangerous? So why intussusception is dangerous? Because it cut off blood supply, intestine can die, there will be a necrosis leading to perforation, infection and shock. So this is the flashcard number 4. Flashcard number 5. How is intussusception diagnosed and treated? So diagnosed and treated, that is flashcard number 5. So with the barium or air enema, that is the first line treatment, barium and air enema, and it shows the because it shows the problem on X-ray and often fix it by unfolding the intestine, mean diagnostic also and therapeutic also. Our flashcard number 6. The flashcard number 6 is what is the nurse's priority action when intussusception is suspected. So nurse's priority. The nurse's priority is prepare the child for barium and air enema, keep NPO, no oral fluids, start IV fluids and monitor for shock. That is the nursing priority, flashcard number 6. Now flashcard number 7. What is the classic sign nurse should never miss? The classic sign. The classic sign is current jelly stools, mean blood and mucus together. That is intussusception. That is the classic hallmark sign. The flashcard number 8. What happen if enema does not work or bowel is dead? Surgery is needed to remove the damaged part. So surgery is needed. If the barium and air enema will not work, is unsuccessful, so we have to do the surgery. This is the 8 flashcards. Very important. I complete the topic in the 8 flashcards. So mean if any question will come in the exam, it should be this one. It should be from this 8 flashcards the question will come. If any case scenario will come, that is also in the 8 flashcards. And keep in your mind one thing, the sausage like the lump when doctor will examine the abdomen, that is also very nice flashcard, because they can mention in the scenario sausage like. So keep in your mind. And the memory trick I will give you here, the tip for memory, that is keep in your mind CAVS. CAVS. C is current, jelly stools, A is abdominal pain, sudden and severe, V is vomiting, S is screaming. Screaming mean the patient is taking knees to the chest. That is mean he has severe abdominal pain. Now we will go to our one NCLEX type question and we will solve our question, so we will understand more the intussusception topic. Our question is, a 2-year-old child is brought to the emergency department with sudden severe abdominal pain, inconsolable crying and drawing of the knees to the chest. The nurse notes episodes of vomiting and the passage of red currant jelly stools. Which of the following priority nursing action? So the child age is 2 year. As I told you, 6 months to 3 year is the age of the intussusception patients. So child age is 2 years, common age for intussusception. What is the symptoms? Symptom A, patient has sudden severe abdominal pain, inconsolable crying, the knees drawn up, vomiting, red currant jelly stools. That is the classic signs, blood plus mucus in the stool. So this is the classic presentation of the intussusception. So which is a life-threatening emergency because of the intestine telescope into itself, blockage blood supply, necrosis can happen. So this is a pediatric emergency. We have to act as soon as possible. So now you know this is intussusception. Now we will check what is our nursing priority for this case. So number A is prepare the child for a barium or air enema. Exactly, this is our nursing priority, to prepare the child for the barium and air enema, because this is first line treatment. So the intussusception is most often treated non-surgically by barium enema or air enema, which not only diagnoses but can also reduce the telescope bowel. So this is the priority because it both confirm diagnosis and also relieves obstructions immediately. So the delay increases risk of necrosis, perforation, peritonitis and sepsis. So nursing priority to prepare the child for this procedure. So this is the right answer here. Number 2, administer prescribed antibiotics. Antibiotics are not the first priority here, because this may temporarily the infection control is not important here, because if perforation peritonitis is if perforation and peritonitis is suspected, but the main emergency is obstruction here. So giving antibiotics does not correct the obstruction and save the bowel tissue. So this is not the nursing priority here. Number C is place a child in a knee chest position for comfort. So this may temporarily relieve pain. The knee chest position can decrease abdominal pressure, but it does not treat the underlying life-threatening obstructions. So this is also not the priority. Offer oral fluids to prevent dehydration. Absolutely contraindicated, because the child is vomiting and may need anesthesia, sedation for the enema or surgery. So oral fluids increase the risk of aspiration and worsen the condition. So hydration is maintained IV only in this scenario. So the offer oral fluids to prevent dehydration, that is not correct here. So the child has intussusception because intestine folded into itself. This block blood and food from moving, leading to severe pain and bloody stools. So the only way to fix it quickly is by doing air enema and the barium enema. So this is the nursing priority here. I hope you like the lecture. If you like, please share and subscribe my YouTube channel. And don't forget to push the icon bell button to receive my coming videos notification. Thank you very much. Take care yourself and your family. Allah Hafiz.